All right, so for 1.1, the first word that we need to know is the word attribute. The word attribute, A-T-T, at, tree, A-T-R-I, butte, B-U-T-E. Attribute are characteristics, or it tells something about someone. So the book definition is a characteristic, or feature about a person or thing. Now, you can use this in your vocabulary lesson that's due on the 28th. So an example of an attribute. That one doesn't work. An example. An example of a characteristic. So let's take Alice in Wonderland. She was a happy child. She was often forgetful. We can talk about the rabbit, an attribute of him. He was always in a hurry. So an example. We can take the Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat was, how about let's change that. An attribute, attribute of the Cheshire Cat was that he was, I don't know, what can we say? He was always disappearing. He was always questioning people. Was that he was curious. Okay, so that is a characteristic or a feature about the Cheshire Cat. The next word is distribution. So, dis, the prefix dis. Dis. We have trib, T-R-I-B. Notice that they have the same. This one has dis, this one has at. Distribution. Distribution. Same base word, different prefix and suffix. And it's the shape of the data. And it is the shape of the data. And in your vocabulary words, it talks about the shape. We can use the bell curve. We can use, was it a straight line? Did it go straight up to the right? Did it go straight up to the left? Was it curvy? How do you describe the data? So that would be the distribution, is the shape of the data. How was the data given? Did the numbers increase and then decrease? Those are two words that you want to use. Increase, decrease. You may also use stay the same. So distribution. Increase, decrease, stay the same. Increase, decrease. This would be unsteady. So those are three ways that we can talk about the distribution. So let's go into part A. If you look into your Google Docs, you have a worksheet that has all of the names listed that are on page 10. Don't forget, we switched to Data About Us. We're in a whole new investigation. So you're going to need to look at all of those names. So the names on the left-hand side are all Chinese names. The names on the right-hand side are all American names. So the question is, A, A frequency table shows the number of times in a data set. Data sets those two charts. The number of letters in the Chinese names, the number of letters in American names. That's your data set. Times each value in a data set occurs. It arranges observations in order from least to greatest with their corresponding frequencies. Notice these are not in order from least to greatest. That's your job. And we're going to do a tally to do that. The frequency table shows some of the data about the Chinese class. The lengths of the first 7 names, Ho, Gao, through Mai, He, are recorded using tally marks. Now, there is in your Google Classroom this list. If you want to create your own chart, we've gone over many times how to enter a table. Enter in your own table. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over a first of those. The number of letters. Number of, letters. Then we're going to write the word tally. And these directions are also in Google Classroom. And then we're going to have frequency. I'm going to write F-R-E-Q. So the first one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Let's hope you can see that. So, if we look at our names on the Chinese part, they've already been, it already figures out how many letters are in each name. So I'm going to look through. Do any names have just one letter? And I can look at there on the, right here on this side. None of them have just one letter. So there's nothing in my tally. My frequency, I'm going to write 0. Do any names have only 2 letters? I'm going to leave tally empty. My frequency 0. Same thing goes for 3. I'm going to leave tally 0. Frequency 0. 4. Do any names have 4? I look through my list. The first one I come down to is Yoo-hoo. So I'm going to put 1 tally mark there. Then I'm going to go through. Then I see Li Zhu. So I'm going to put another tally mark. All tally marks are little lines. And then I will see I have 1, 2. So the amount of tally marks I have are 2. Now I will go down to 5. How many names in Chinese names do I have that have 5 letters? On here it tells me 2. I'm going to go back and make sure that that is correct. I'm looking for the number of letters. I see Li Han, Lu Han, Lin Ma. That right there tells me that's 3. 1, 2, 3. So I know that this is not correct. I'm going to have to fill that in. So, Lin, 5, 3, and then Wu Zhu, 4. So I have 4 tally marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 names that have 5 letters. So let's go down to 6. I'm going to count the number of 6s. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. Here's where it changes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is across. So every time I see this, I know that's 5. 6, 7, 8. This kind of goes in the same way that we've learned Roman numerals when we're outlining. This right here is 5. So when I see this, I automatically know 5. I can count 1, 2, 3, and I can say 8. Again, do this in Google Classroom on create your own table, and you can fill in those. So 7, and you're going to go all the way down to 7, 8, and 9. You will do that for both the Chinese and the American names. That's all I'm asking you to do is, here's the questions. Some name lengths do not occur as a name 1 letter long. How does the table show this? We talked about this. How do we know that none of these names are 1 letter long? What do we have here? On a copy of the table, complete the entries for the Chinese class. We did most of that together. For the U.S. class data, make a frequency table like the one on the previous page. So just like this one, create one for the American class. Now you're going to compare the 2 frequencies tables for both classes. What are the shortest and longest Chinese names? Greatest thing, the shortest, 4 letters, and is there one with 9 letters? If not, which one had the longest? Same thing goes for American names. Go through your chart. Which one had the fewest telemarks? Which name is it? Which one's the longest name? Give me one for Chinese shortest, one for Chinese longest, one for American shortest, one for American longest. If you have questions, please post the questions on Google Classroom.